Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO Batman 3. Let's continue. So we've got probably about 4 more levels of these. And since last one was the Arrow, this one says the Squad, so this is just going to be a Suicide Squad story. Of course, it's going to be super toned down compared to the Suicide Squad movie, the first one. Which was definitely way too mature to even slightly try to be advertised to little kids. There's literally no kids that would be playing this that should then tell their parents they want to go and watch the Suicide Squad
Time to
movie.
earn those expensive explosive collars I bought you all. Sensors indicate an intruder has entered from the east wall, fluttered around the security light for a curiously long time, before finally breaking into the compound. Get out there and stop him. Believe me, you don't want to wait for my mind-blowing motivational speech.
So you can see on the minifigs they all have the collars, exploding collars, which were actually chips in.
This is Amanda Waller with a Bell Rev Penitentiary status update. With the prison under attack, I've initiated a complete lockdown. Members of my squad have been tasked with identifying those responsible and taking them out, whether they want to or not. With the lockdown in effect, all prisoner cells have been completely sealed. It's a good thing my team are used to getting past the occasional locked door.
So we've got some prisoners we can beat up, it seems like.
I gotta admit, Deadshot is a great leader, even if he doesn't seem to care that he's a great leader. The squad's going to need him if we're going to track down the attackers.
Playing as Captain Boomerang here as a character. Let's see if Deadshot here can scan. Red, yellow, purple. Oh, that's gonna be hard for anybody that's colorblind. Red, yellow, magenta, cyan. Yep.
Harley Quinn. My favorite inmate. I can't deny she's got her uses, especially with that giant hammer of hers. Wait, how did she even get that in here?
Just try and blow up things as much as possible. So we just swap into her. Harley Quinn obviously was going to be the most interesting character in this series, or in any group of basically no-name characters as far as the mainstream audience. Harley Quinn just being supplemental to the Joker puts her in a very unfair advantage. So it creates a situation much like in the case of Batman, where Harley Quinn is just too strong of a character, and there's just kind of this obvious imbalance between very strong, well-developed characters and no-name characters. And for Suicide Squad to really have worked, it would have had to have really been more no-name characters, but it can't be no-name characters because then nobody goes and watches the movie. So you create this whole catch-22, and yeah, a lot of these characters just have nothing. There's like nothing special about them at all. I assume it's Harley Quinn that jumps between these platforms to get up to the next area. And so I imagine we're gonna have to figure out a way for Harley Quinn to let other people up. A lot of these games have a problem in which they focus way too much on the music, which that usually works, but it also underplays the importance of just your standard sound effect. Like, I can barely hear Harley Quinn making any sounds at all. And see that we can hear the Joker making noise. Do I think any of these characters have electricity powers? Katana, another like no-name character that's not very well developed. It really comes down to budget, I think, more than anything. If DC ever had put any budget in any medium to better develop characters and not just focus on, hey, let's make another Batman story, then there would be more writing and backstory and development towards characters like Katana and Captain Cold and Boomerang. Or even if they had said, look, these characters are all ridiculous, let's just take their first names, give them some kind of ability that's sort of like what their ability, get rid of the goofy suits. For as realistically drawn all of the, or for as realistically depicted all of the movies are, live action movies, as far as DC's characters in comics for decades have been completely unrealistically depicted, and even now in this kid's game, you still see them very unrealistically depicted. I don't know if I have anything that works here, even though you have like 5 different characters. I don't think I have anything that actually would activate that. So I assume you're just supposed to jump through this area.
What's King Shark doing? Must be something going on underground. For the sake of our intruders, I hope King Shark's been fed today. Did I forget to mention that King Shark actually is a shark? He likes to remind people about that.
So I don't think we have a freezing guy. And we can play as King Shark as he's eating people. Pretty brutal.
How can you not get this one?
Yeah, we kind of already known that. I would say that the Lego games also kind of dropped the ball once they started introducing the bigger characters. Lego in general is not like super adaptive to it really isn't super adaptive to the larger, I guess they call them maxi figs maybe instead of minifigs. I guess you're supposed to throw it there and break that.
I'm starting to think that Task Force X is causing more damage to this place than any potential attackers. Looks like I'll have to cancel tomorrow's basketball game.
Let's see. I think we need him to throw explosive boomerangs on things. And then Diablo should be the fire guy. Come on. these little sequences could have helped you learn about the abilities of certain characters, but then you would have had to integrate these characters into being actually playable in the other levels, or actually needed in the other levels. I think needed is much more the right term there. It's not just playable that matters. I don't know if this is supposed to be opened this way or what. Yeah, unless King Shark can jump on top of that. Or unless Diablo is supposed to be hitting the gold chain around this door, which I think I'm hitting it, but still doesn't seem like that's working. I suppose we could see if maybe Deadshot or Captain Boomerang would have something that they could throw there. I think the answer to that is no. So then we probably need Deadshot. This is an example also of just too many characters. Like when you have 5 of them just chasing after each other, following in a line. Even in the Suicide Squad movie, that was the problem, is that it was too many characters and not enough screen time, and you're just always going to have that as your problem. I am confused as to who's got what where. Like, there is a whole Lego piece here. What are we supposed to be doing? We broke everything around here. There's something up in the air. Katana. Seems like there's a thing here. But my scanner is not showing anything. Maybe Diablo supposed to burn something. Yeah. Oddly doesn't feel like the game is helping me. It feels like what's happened here is that there's some breakable piece of content that I've yet to break. Something that's supposed to get all of these little pieces around. Does anybody have a ground pound? I guess they do. So maybe I was supposed to break this? Not with that character. I see it's showing a character. Maybe it's just Harley Quinn. Wouldn't be surprised if it is just Harley Quinn again. Oh yeah, Harley Quinn has the hammer smash, so we needed her to break that. We get the last bits of pieces to build something. And we'll see who has the grapple ability. Dead shot. To break the ground to go down. Yeah, I really wish these games would just
back what I said before.
put
Whoever
kind of a blinking arrow or
must have had one heck of a party.
ghost studs to
Deathstroke.
point their way.
He should be able to help us get past. Not that I'd trust Slade Wilson as far as I could throw him.
Yeah. It's weird to have a Deadshot and a Deathstroke as a character. But it seems like that's exactly what you have. Okay. So we need to figure out a way of turning off the electricity, I suppose. Which I bet is that switch. Interesting, the lights blink in and out. There's probably a little too many assassins in the DC universe, but it's not super crazy either to expect there to be. No, I have no idea. Unless this is a case where Harley Quinn's just gonna break the door. This doesn't look to me like that's just openable. Right. You don't have the other ability. The shark guy is breathing way too heavily. There's Boomerang. I guess maybe Boomerang's our last hope. And you can open that up. But apparently we need to find a red, green, blue switch to open the picture up. And I assume this like Green Martian Manhunter character is the only character that can interact with that. Right, so do that and then hold down the B button. Okay. So I think it was cyan, nope. Cyan, red, yellow, blue. Let's see. Magenta, red, yellow, cyan.
Last mission, team. Our targets should be right behind this door.
Just that weird dancing sequence. That's weird. Let's see, can we activate this? Green, blue, red. There we go. Green, blue, red. The idea of Lego games when they started introducing these little mini games on screens in a 3D world really goes to show where they had just lost their plot, and really run out of ideas.
Gentlemen, the danger has been neutralized and identified as a Mr. Drury Walker, aka Cameron Van Clear, aka Killer Moth. No, seriously. Unable to access our computer system due to IT not being one of his special powers, he resorted to the usual monologue, detailing his plans to expose the squad in some kind of half-baked revenge plot. His moving speech allowed the squad time to effectively flank and then squash this insect. Needless to say, the whole affair was moth ado about nothing.
See, and the idea of like Killer Moth as a character is, when you see him, he's like cartoony and a joke even in the cartoons, but you could easily rewrite that character and make him really spooky looking and scary. You could just take a character that is obsessed with moths and make them a very dangerous peril of a character. If you consider that the imagery of moths just on like the cover of the Silence of the Lambs still terrifies lots of people today. So if you wanted to go hyper realistic and bring Mothman as a character into the movies, that would work, but you would never really have time to bring in Mothman into a movie. Even a Suicide Squad movie, you probably wouldn't have time to bring him in, other than maybe as a quick joke character, or joke appearance, where and if you were going to try and be cartoony and make him serious, then you would possibly be able to do something there, but I don't think anybody would respect him. I think part of the problem with a lot of the stuff that is made by DC creators is that they have some opinion. I'm gonna not say right or wrong, but I'm gonna say some opinion out there for each character. So instead of just being able to assign somebody and say do something with the moth that's really great, Killer Moth that's really great, that they'll say, oh, I can't do anything with Killer Moth, he's a joke character. He'll always be a joke character. They're kind of not capable of thinking beyond their own previous experiences. Right. And so you would like a fast hack here. I don't remember what this was, but I'm gonna assume that it was something like this: yellow, red, magenta, cyan. It's randomized between several different things, I imagine. It's probably not pure randomization. I'm not sure if I really needed to do any of that. Let's see, in free play mode, can you swap to her? Yes, you can. I'm not sure it matters so much. Let's just come down here. Here we have an electric character, which means we can just fill up the electricity easier. And I believe this is a robin staff. Wonder Girl slash Power Girl slash Supergirl is kind of a good character, I would say, to also have as potentially the hero of a story, because Supergirl being like unfamiliar with Earth and superheroes from Earth, if you start at the beginning of her story, you can have a lot of, I guess, more interesting fresh face appearances. I could have sworn that was Batman, that was a Robin thing, but whatever. I suppose it's true, like, the biggest problem, if you take a step out and get really meta on it, the biggest problem with DC is it has a perception that it has a problem. Nobody really makes the argument that, well, in my mind, I don't feel like I need to make the argument that says Marvel is doing something wrong or Marvel is failing. If anything, I think Marvel has succeeded fairly well. Marvel did kind of abandon the Netflix series that they didn't have any control over, and arguably the Netflix Daredevil first season was really good. A lot of the other Marvel series were up and down as far as their quality. Some were alright, some were not great. But yeah, I don't have in my mind the perception that Marvel has a problem. Whereas all I have in my mind as a perception is that DC has a problem. There's just no getting around it in my head. And I don't know if that's because I don't know if that is because DC just manages to create that perception, whether it intends to or not. Let's see. You just have to stay in the same place. I swear this thing here yeah, it would be nice, frankly, if I could just kind of shut up about it, really. Like, but the only criticism I really have of Lego Batman 3 is a greater criticism of DC, and same is probably true for my criticism of Lego Batman Arkham City. I mean, that's not a game. Batman Arkham City. Is that they just kind of don't do as well by their characters as I would have liked them to. Alright. We're gonna have to try every character. Because what this would have been in a Marvel game is that would have been a Captain America's Shield character. It was Robin. Needed to press the X button. And you can kind of tell how they are totally... I guess we can not play as Robin. They're totally just reusing content that was made for Lego Marvel superheroes in the Batman games. And at some level it must have really killed a Warner Brothers owned company like GT Games to have to make Marvel games, Lego Marvel games that were probably better received and better selling than their own DC games. I bet that irritated them quite a bit. Yeah. I wonder what it would be like, assuming you wouldn't just get ruined by Marvel and DC, who own in part the publishing company and have a monopoly as far as who publishes comic books, because this literally happened. There was a independent creator that tried to create a comic, and they literally were going to have it published by a small, closer to independent publishing company, and from what I recall, it seems like DC, people working at DC, directly called the comic book stores and said, don't order any of those books. If you do, we'll make sure Diamond Publishing, which is the major publishing, does not deliver any comics to your comic store ever again, or something, some kind of threat similar to that. So just like, we'll ruin your comic book business, which in all fairness, comic book businesses were already very close to being ruined in the first place. But yeah, the threat is they would completely ruin them if even a single independent comic got published. But assuming that wasn't what happened, or assuming something like that, or the threat of something like that didn't exist, there is an interesting question certainly as to, could you create a whole new universe outside of Marvel and DC and make a whole new collection of superheroes like Marvel and DC did make in the old days? This is an interesting suit. I don't really get the point of it though. Let's see. I don't know why you need to have a light up suit to be able to then switch to another suit. Yeah, the suit concept was dumb. It's not even something that really happens in most Batman stories. Is you don't have Robin and Batman switching suits. At most, you have them using a different gadget on their bat belt. There's not a lot happening as you walk from one end of the map to the other. I suppose that is what the Inhumans were supposed to be, was characters that were new to replace the X-Men who Disney didn't have the license to. They had sold the licenses as far as film depictions of the X-Men. So they tried to create the Inhumans, and yeah, it didn't really succeed, and I think was fairly quickly abandoned. Let's see. We'll need a telepath, I think. So I don't know who would be the telepath character. Probably this guy? Not her. Him. Yeah, he would be able to telepathically control people. Martian Manhunter. So you pull that. Then lights up the tower. That shoots a rocket, which then will dispel some kind of gas. I don't know how I would really create new characters though, in all fairness. Frankly, just generic characters that are parodies of characters or similar to or just generic characters in general are going to be very similar to what exists already. So it would be fairly difficult to have a superhero that has no powers and not give them some significant financial support. And at a certain level, that is just Bruce Wayne and Batman. It's fairly difficult to have a shapeshifter and not have that seem very much like a lot of the other characters. Where's the other guy? Oops, this may have messed up. I may have messed up real bad here. Because Robin had those abilities. And so this guy doesn't have the suit. This Robin doesn't have the suit. Okay. And see, that was the last 10 I needed to collect. But the other ones are already gone. And you can't... Let's see. Save and exit, maybe? Maybe we can save and exit and continue. I don't think we can. I think we have to rush through the first level again and do pretty much everything to get that one thing. Which this probably highlights where a Lego game could get very frustrating for little kids if they're just trying to get it done. Although, in all fairness, I think most little kids are probably going to enjoy the experience well enough that they'd be willing to play a level 3 or 4 times over, particularly if they don't have the items pointing, the arrows pointing towards the collectibles. But a child's tolerance for any... Yeah, there's no chapters here. So we will just have to jump through that first section again as quickly as possible. Shouldn't be too hard. A child's tolerance for playing a level over and over again would reduce, I think, fairly significantly as you start to add more DLC. There we go. I don't think I really need to break this, but we'll do this anyways. Says the Riddler can scan this stuff. What's funny is we've got something here being pointed towards far in the corner. How many collectibles are there? There's 2. Did we miss something? I don't see how there could be anything that far in the corner. I'm gonna stubbornly ignore that and hope that that doesn't mean something else. Very slow, this whole sequence. It's basically trying to hide loading, which, yeah, that more than likely is the reason why there's been such a big delay around the LEGO Star Wars reboot, is that they desperately needed to build a new engine, and I assume, I don't think they're using the Unreal Engine. Maybe I heard them say something like that, but I really think that's the case. I wouldn't make a LEGO games in the Unreal Engine. I suppose it is worth mentioning, there has been one game released to Steam, not made by TT Games, that is a LEGO game. And it is doing a very different thing, certainly. It's not really shooting to have minifigs as a focus at all. And so you are not playing as minifigs. It is a very pretty looking game for what it is. But it's kind of a puzzle, simplistic gameplay mechanic experience. It's nowhere as complicated as these LEGO games have gotten. Now I need to remember, it's very important to not let this guy transform. So we need to find where that last box is. Find 50. Alright, well, if it's a crate, I'm gonna switch to this, hope that that doesn't transform into anything, then swap to somebody with a smash ability. We'll swap to the fish guy and smash that, I suppose. see. She has the explosive ability to melt gold if you can hit it, which it's not a lot of square footage to hit. So that's everything. Like freezing this doesn't let you break that. It clearly says it wants 50. Not 40. Okay, there it is. It's just there. I just didn't even see it. I don't know where those pieces came from. But I got 50. That's all that matters. At least for the moment. That's all that matters. It's taking forever. Am I supposed to tap the B button? Nope. Supposed to hold it down. Okay. I'm just gonna have to assume that everything else is under the street, I'm hoping. Yep. It's definitely not fun playing these levels back to back. They're not good enough levels for that to work as a concept, and if even when I normally play Lego games, I tend not to want to play them at the same time in a row. I tend to want to play the story all the way through and get a full narrative, which that's something we definitely are not getting here. Looking for somebody with an ability, but I don't know if any of those characters really have that ability. Unless it's Deathstroke here. Yep. See, that's supposed to be like a big cinematic experience, but it really isn't. Right, instead of trying to guess what the right character is, I think we'll instead just find somebody from the options. And you make the chicken dance around, picking up these pieces. So then you can make another thing happen with the Green Lantern ability, making a giant boot to kick down the door. Boy, is that slow. Yeah, I'm wondering if instead of having micro stuttering, you now have a situation where the animations just play really well.
What a superhuman physique. You almost remind me of myself.
Alright, well, last one to collect was the one that needed Brainiac. I don't think it's actually Brainiac. Is it Brainiac? Yes, it is. I thought it was Martian Manhunter, but whatever. So, is there any reason to not just save and exit? No, there isn't. So let's just do that. And yeah, I'm getting 3 achievements for every level, which would leave me with like 1 achievement shy of the remaining achievements by my calculation, which I imagine just unlocks once I've gotten all the other achievements. If that's not the case, I'll just figure out what it is and get it. There's never been anything particularly difficult in a Lego game. You definitely, when you come back to a game much later, years later, 5 years later, you're not going to get into that dumbed down Lego mindset. So almost certainly I'll want to play another Lego game right after this Lego game to get into a more consistent story, and I'll probably be playing a older Lego game at that point, so it'll be a bit of a shock to the system compared to Lego Batman 3, which is probably one of the newer Lego games that I have. So yeah. I have like 15 achievements, and so 3 here, 3 here, 3 here would be 9, which I think then actually doesn't give me all the achievements. Interesting. Well, I have no idea what we do at that point. We may have to jump to the moon base and check that out. Because there may be something around the moon base that we haven't done. We may even have to jump to Cord. I suppose you could, yeah, if there's an area that isn't labeled as having something, there is a possibility that there is something on that, in that area. Lego Batman 3 in particular went crazy by trying to have these big planet levels, and boy was that a mistake. Yeah, it doesn't even feel like there really is any story here at all, or it must be a very, very short story. As far as if I was to start a new game and try and figure out how you were even supposed to play the levels in order. Yeah, it does seem like the moon base would be the only level that possibly has something we missed. Like, yeah, I imagine you did just these 5 Batman stories, and then, or not even that many, and then you quickly started doing other levels. There might be just achievements also for having Harley Quinn, say, beat up King Shark or something like that. That would be totally believable also. Something that I could easily accomplish. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.